Now is the time to be together in community after those joys and concerns. And today we can reaffirm that hope finds a way.
Amen.
Sarah asked, my dear friend Sarah from choir, asked me to share some thoughts on why I support this church. So here goes. Last weekend was a perfect reminder of why it's a pleasure and a joy to support this church and be a member of this church community. On Friday, the Green Sanctuary ministry team met in person for the first time in ages. It was so good to be together, to laugh, enjoy each other's company, and plan activities geared to engaging people, finding inspiration in nature, and providing stewardship for the earth. On Saturday, I attended the Green Sanctuary Bird Walk, once again ably and caringly led by John Benson. Despite the thick fog, we heard white-throated sparrows, song sparrows, and cardinals sing. I wouldn't know all that, by the way, but John and Bruce Campbell know these things. We saw a common goldeneye, a raft of 20 black scoters, 2 loons, and the most amazing wonder of all, a long-tailed duck, which I learned is a small sea duck with very long, slender tail feathers that stick up 10 inches. Who knew? It's amazing. On Sunday, I came to church, as is my practice. As our beloved choir member, George Richardson, used to say on why he attended church services, there is a little plant called reverence in the corner of my soul's garden, which I love to have watered once a week. He was quoting Oliver Wendell Holmes, but I prefer to think of George saying this. So on Sunday, I came to church to water a little plant called reverence in the corner of my soul's garden, and Reverend Vicky once again had crafted a beautiful service for us. The fabulous David Collins played, which every time I hear him play, I'm inspired and moved, and he's simply amazing. Together, we all belted out a rousing rendition of the hymn, "Morning Has Come." There's lots of crashing in the piano if you can't remember it. Morning has come, arise and greet the day, dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. Reverend Vicky gave a thought-provoking sermon on balance. You can listen to it on YouTube if you missed it the first time or want a refresher. Kenneth pulled down his mask, and it was a treat for the choir to see his smiling, encouraging face for a change. And the choir sang one of my favorite pieces, for the beauty of the earth, for the beauty of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise, for the beauty of each hour, of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of night. Lord of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. Doesn't get much better than that. Again, and now in conclusion, it's a pleasure and a joy to raise our hymn of grateful praise, to water a little plant called reverence, to support this church and be a member of this church community.
Hello, everyone. To see our doors opened again with an option to wear masks if we choose brings great joy to my heart. Although we've been separated physically from each other for almost 2 years, spiritually, many of us have continued in relationship through Zoom and the many groups we have joined. At first, I found myself wanting to squeeze people so hard and not let go. But I've calmed down, thank God. You see, from the moment I walked into this church, a little over 4 years ago, I felt an immediate spiritual presence and grew to love so many of you. This spiritual presence still exists in our church, and I'm grateful to be here. We are fortunate to have a wonderful minister, Director of Community Living and Learning, and many other employees and devoted volunteers who work fervently to maintain the property, traditions, and overall well-being of our church and members. I came to understand the hard work of the Board of Trustees and all of the outstanding committee members. I've been honored to work with so many devoted people. The board has always had the back of the church throughout many difficult times. We have so much to be grateful for. I also had the good fortune to understand and contribute to the operations of the church. When I worked on the pledge campaign 2 years ago, some people on the committee looked at me cross-eyed when I suggested an operations goal of $100,000. Historically, the goal had always been set at $70,000. Fear not, no goal has been set for this year. We are being asked to give what we are able. I've learned so much about commitment to the church and finally realized that my commitment was not complete until I was willing to contribute financially to the church. With the small amount I was able to pledge, I finally felt a total commitment. So I'm asking you to take a minute to think about how you might help our church and invest in its future. We are a strong and loving community, and we need to continue to support each other and our church. Thank you so much. See you in fellowship.
So there's another, oh my God, there's so many of you. Oh my gosh. Oh, I just looked up and it's you're here. We're here. So there's another verse to the hymn, For All That Is Our Life, that we sang as our opening hymn. And we didn't sing it because I wanted to save it for this moment, and here it is. It's the second verse, actually. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. We come with praise and thanks for sorrow, failures, pain, and loss. The man who wrote these lyrics, Bruce Finlow, was a Unitarian minister in Edinburgh, Scotland. And like all composers of lyrics, I know he didn't just throw those words out there without thinking carefully about them. Like we are today, he was a person who was very engaged in the bosom of community, of church. So I've been sitting with those lyrics all week, holding on to them, really, as a kind of a wisdom, and realizing that they reflect that kind of wild truth that, we can actually experience sorrows, failures, pain, and loss with gratitude if we stay together through those things. It's a mystery, but it's the mystery of community. I've learned this from you. I've learned this from us. By myself, pain, failure, sorrow, loss, it's really tough going. You know, it's like I stare at the wall and curl up in a fleece blanket and feel defeated. I can give myself over to fears and brooding. That's okay, we can do some of that. But because I am the church with you, we don't just go to church, we are the church and everything it represents. Because we consistently and constantly renew and re-articulate our mission to love the world both as it is and work to challenge it, to challenge injustices and ugly doctrines that impede and interfere with the flourishing of all Earth's people, animals, and living things, it's impossible to feel defeated for long. It's impossible to gather with this community of faith, either online or in the parking lot, as we do sometimes after meetings, through prayer, as I do regularly, or even text messages, and not experience the energy of blessing and possibility that is a constant stream through our shared lives. It's so constant and it's so consistent and it is miraculous. And reading those lyrics again and singing them, I was like, yeah, this is a miracle. I get to see and experience it a lot, but I don't want to ever take it for granted. We've been through so much. A hell of a 2 years. The last time we were together for a Canvas Sunday, that Sunday, when we are invited to create a commonwealth through pledges to the operating budget, we were preparing, we had just done a lot of work to welcome a family or an individual under threat of deportation into sanctuary here in our church under this roof. That's where we were. The following year, our doors were closed, and we were together in spirit online. And our partners in the Sanctuary Initiative soon informed us in the midst of this pandemic crisis that they had new priorities. And so we responded by supporting those priorities as best we could and to continue in partnership to find our way together. We began to imagine coming back together, opening the doors, and then the town of Swampscott had an ambitious school project that we could not have foreseen, and that again required time-consuming, thoughtful, dedicated leadership and community response from our church. What did you just sing? Change? It's time for change? And as I said in last week's sermon, we're at the equinox, the time of planetary balance of lightness and dark, but the only constant is change. All of these developments, all of this change are simply time and life flowing along as they do. And as for all lives, time flows over and around some big rocks in the stream. But because we are in this life together, and because we know who we are, and because we are clear about our mission, we have the indestructible gift at all times of being able to find durable and abiding meaning in all of it, and yes, even thanks and praise for all of it. I give thanks this morning to the founders of this church, whose spirit and hopes, I believe, live with us and within us and whisper to us. And I give thanks, as I hope we all do and will, to the current stewards and keepers of the vision of this church, which is all of you. You are, in and of yourselves, true gifts. And did you ever think we would be so thrilled to be able to have coffee hour?